Welcome to Scam Alert Week 5. I'm Jaclyn Quinn from the Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council, and this week we're going to talk about rental listing scams along with work-at-home scams. So, the rental listing scam, you might think, how can that be a scam? Where can someone fit in a scam in a rental listing? But as it turns out, there are people who go around and take pictures of properties and put them online and list that it's for rent. They'll add some pictures, probably of a different place, along with a rental price, usually too good to be true. We hear that a lot. And then they get someone online, usually through Craigslist or another online rental lister, and they take security deposit and first month's payment, and it turns out you've been scammed. So, what can you do to protect yourself? You can never be too careful, and you can definitely reduce the possibility of being scammed by doing your homework and being a very thorough shopper and being aware of all of the signs that come across. So, if you're looking for a rental unit, it's best if you can visit the place in person so you can see, what the condition is firsthand. Pictures can lie, and they can be misleading, especially when a picture could have been taken years ago and they always show the place in the best light. So, of course, you want to be able to go see it in person. But as someone, I've moved to a different state where I had to organize a rental unit before I moved there. And I tried to do it over the internet. And of course, when I went on the last day to check it out in person before moving in the following week, I was not happy with what I saw. So I've been there, and that's why I can't stress enough to take the time ahead of time to visit the unit first. So if you're looking for a rental and the broker's only talking to you by text or email and they don't have a phone conversation, that's one red flag. So it could be that the place is truly for rent and it's listed, but the person you're talking to has inserted themselves in the transaction and they're not the owner. And instead of representing the agent or being the property owner, they're just in there trying to take your money before the true owner finds out that someone else is meddling. So if they won't speak with you or meet you in person, definitely wonder why and look into it a little more. If the listings are riddled with poor spelling and grammar, or if the owner's overseas and they're going to be over in Europe for the next 3 months and they're not going to be able to meet you in person, so they want you to just wire over the money and then they'll mail you the key or have you pick it up, these are a little far-fetched. So be careful. Plenty of scams are rooted overseas, so when this happens, U.S. law enforcement's really limited in the actions that they can take to go after and return your funds and make you whole. So the next thing, so the first warning sign is if they're only communicating to you by text or email, watch out. Next, if the listing seems too good to be true. So if the listing is for a unit that everywhere else it's listed for double the price and this one's half the price and it's even nicer than the others, to me that sounds like it's too good to be true. And unless there's some good reason for why it's listed at such a low rate or whatever it is that's making you feel like this is the absolute perfect unit, question and make sure that you do your homework there. All right, the third sign could be the photos. So really study the pictures. Do they look like they're staged, and are they professional photos? Are they stock photos? Does it even seem to match up with the description? They might be fake. All right, sometimes you can tell. I'm not too good at telling when photos are photoshopped, but some people are. Take a close look and see if everything lines up correctly. I know if you have a good eye for things like that, you should be able to notice when a photo's been messed with. All right, if the property has bad or no traceable information, then, maybe it doesn't exist. And maybe the scam is that someone's trying to get you to rent someplace that doesn't even exist. So really, do your homework, do your homework. That's all I can say here. If the broker wants you to pay by wire transfer. So, you know what? If you're going to be renting a property and you're entering a relationship with a landlord for the next year or two, make sure that you get a chance to meet them in person. So, as the tenant, say, no, I only do business with landlords that I can meet in person, and meet them. I know it's convenient to go ahead and wire the money or deposit it in the bank account, but you at least want to have an initial meeting face-to-face so you know who you're dealing with. All right, and then, with the wiring, another aspect of that, which we've talked about over the last few weeks, is, if the broker won't accept a credit card, then if they're asking for payment in some other way where it can't be tracked, that's a red flag for you. As a scammer, they want to accept payments that are more or less untraceable. So it's something to be aware of. So if you are scammed in this scenario, it's important to report it to police. And if you think a listing is a scam, report it to the site who's hosting the listing. Do a complaint on the Better Business Bureau. Look at their scam tracker, and you can report what happened to you. In this way, it doesn't happen to anyone else. All right, and now we're going to move on to the work from home scams. So I've seen it. I'm sure anyone who's gone on any job website over the past 10 years has seen these jobs. You can make $70,000 working at home in your pajamas, and you don't have to leave the house, and you don't have to have any skills. Well, we live in the real world, and we know that that's not realistic. So how on earth do these scammers keep pulling off these scams? Well, people are vulnerable. Anyone who hasn't had a job, or if you're out of work for a period of time, you're desperate and you're looking for any source of income that can help move you to the next place. And, a lot of people fall victim to these work from home scams. And here again, a lot of the jobs sound too good to be true. It seems like they market a minimum amount of work for a lot of money, and it's just not feasible. So with the work from home scams, there are quite a few different types. There are some where, and let me just take a minute and say there are some legitimate work from home opportunities. So there are companies that contract with people to work from home to answer customer service calls. You can do packaging, mailings, data entry. So there are some opportunities. But something like that is going to pay a reasonable hourly rate. They're not going to have a starting salary of $70,000 and offer bonuses and a sign-on bonus and everything else that the scam jobs usually promise. So, keep an eye on that too. So work from home jobs, they are out there, and some of them are real, but if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So these jobs, usually a lot of the work from home jobs will start from either you contact the company, or sometimes the company even contacts job seekers that they find through listservs online, and they try to market the position. So they might tell you the things you're going to be doing, and often it could be nothing that you've had experience in, but they say anyone can do it full time. We have a hiring process. They can send you things where you can study the process, and you might have to do an online assessment. So with the work from home scams, some of them start when you contact a company to inquire about a job posting. And again, a lot of these postings are on Craigslist, Career Builder, websites where they don't monitor the employers who are posting jobs. So it's easy for scammers to kind of hide themselves in the list of postings. Or sometimes if you post your resume when you're looking for a job, some of the sites allow you to do that, and companies can see your website or your resume, then they can contact you. And that makes things even harder, because then you're getting contacted and wondering, okay, did I apply for this job? What was that opportunity? And it really puts you on the spot. So with the work from home scams, You can do a few things to protect yourself when someone contacts you for a job and you're not sure whether or not it sounds too good to be true. So first of all, do a LinkedIn search and use all of the social media tools out there and see if you can find the person, see if their title matches the title that they tell you in their email. Look for pictures of them. Look for the business information. So you can Google the business, find out which state it was formed in, and look to see if it's in good standing. So these are all things that I recommend. I know it sounds a little in-depth, but this is the world we're living in, and these are things you need to do to make sure that you're dealing with good people. So one of the scams going around is a shipping company scam. So what they do is they contact you, and they really do offer good salaries. I'm not kidding when I say they offer $50,000, $70,000 for working from home, doing these shipping procedures for them. So they even send, they might mail you a few $1,000s in bonus checks, and then they send money to buy supplies. One scam in particular, what they were doing was they would mail computers and ship other items to someone, and they would have them, repackage them and ship them out. So what happens is they'll say they're paying you to do this shipping for them. So they do make you link your bank account, and this way, that's how they say they're going to pay you, but instead that's how they try to part you with your own money. They'll give you access to funds, and they ship materials to you, and then you go ahead and you get these things and you ship them. Well, first of all, the scammer is relying on a delay in the bank verifying the deposits. So because it takes a few days for banks to determine whether or not checks are real or fake, there's a few days where someone might be able to withdraw the money, but then on the back end it's canceled. And then by that time, you might have already bought equipment, and now you have to pay the bank back. So that's a huge issue, is linking the scammer's account to yours, and then you end up in the situation where you owe money for things that really aren't yours. So in other cases, the deposits might be real, but it could be from the sale of illegal drugs or stolen goods or contraband that's being shipped to places where it doesn't belong. So that if law enforcement gets involved, you'll have to prove you weren't knowingly involved in the criminal enterprise and that you weren't an asset to this misdeed. So these are some really serious issues, and it can have very serious repercussions, especially when your address and your name is coming up in a criminal investigation. Not to mention, you might end up owing a bank thousands of dollars for money that you didn't use. So the bottom line is that no legitimate business is going to ask you to link your bank account with theirs, and then think about it in realistic terms when someone offers a job like this to you. Why would a business give you access to all of this? Their money, sending you all of their materials to your house. They don't know what you're like, where your house is, and it could be a really bad situation. One company that went down for this type of scam was named Hybrid Logistics Systems. And I would go out on a limb and say that most likely this company didn't have a legitimate business office, and they weren't registered with the right entities in their state. So that's it for work from home scams and rental scams this week. Next week we're going to have our final scam alert, and then stay tuned for news about our next series. Thanks. Talk to you soon.